I just get told to sit up straighter. I won't lounge.
Where am I looking?
I won't curse, I promise.
I'm Alisa Wood. I'm a partner at KKR, a large asset manager managing almost $700 billion of assets.
I'm Lizzie Reed, and I'm a partner at Goldman Sachs, and I lead a team who has priced over 50% of global IPOs in the past 5 years.
This is what it takes to rise to the top on Wall Street. I had no intention of going into business. I was a poli-sci major. I thought I was going into government and help change the world.
I had two dreams when I was graduating from Notre Dame. One was to move to New York City, and two was to start in the world of finance.
I realized pretty quickly that I had a lot of student loans and I was gonna have to pay those off. So I went into the career services department at my school and I said, what is the one profession I can get into that will pay these loans off by the time I'm 30? And they said, there's this thing called investment banking. And I said, great, I'm gonna be great at it. They said, but you've never even taken a business class. And I said, don't you worry about it.
So I interned in 2006. I remember so distinctly that I had wrote that my career desire was to be a managing director at Goldman. And then I crossed it out and I put partner at Goldman. That's actually a really true story. Isn't that really cute? My mom has the page and she sent it to me after I made partner. It's like the one thing that I am gonna frame for my office.
I started looking at different firms that I can join. One of those was KKR. I actually sent in a blind resume and a pitch book, which said, here's why you should hire me, and here's how you can think about private equity differently. Henry Kravis, though, did send me a letter back saying, thank you for your recent note and expressing your interest in KKR. I regret that there are no executive positions available. I can't even imagine why I saved this, but it's not every day you get a letter from Henry Kravis, even if it's a rejection letter. Within about 24 to 48 hours, another partner called me and said to me, I received the same pitch book. I clearly sent it to a few people. Why don't you come on in and let's have a conversation.
I was part of a soccer team, a very, very strong soccer team. I always knew that I wanted to be a leader.
Before I went to college, I was actually a ballerina. I danced professionally. You were told no 100 times. Each one of those times where someone said no, the letter, in case in point, it was almost a challenge. It was like, no, I got this. I'll figure it out, right? The harder it was, the better it was gonna be in the end.
You have to kind of, be resilient through it. Do you want my old ID badge? I love this picture. So this is my first, I'll just say. So this is my first ID card at Goldman, and I got it in 2007. Honestly, best picture of my entire life. I just steal it out of my kid's wallet.
It was probably one of our first firm headshots when we actually created a website.
It was our second day of analyst training, and I was meeting a whole bunch of new people. I actually don't really know why it makes me so happy, but it really does.
This person was in her mid-20s at best, who was really just figuring it out, believing in the best of everything because you haven't been proven wrong yet.
I remember so distinctly being a bit, quite frankly, intimidated.
You know it's just the beginning. They're gonna figure out that I might not know as much as they think I know.
I think most people who are highly driven and successful in whatever they're pursuing probably have some type of fear of the traditional imposter syndrome. Are you good enough? Do you deserve to be here? Did you earn this? How are you gonna do in a whole new environment? I think if I had to go back 18 years or 19 years where I am today, I probably would think in the very beginning of your career to think less and probably just to be very present and just to really enjoy the experience more, which was a very important transaction for me. But in reality, you're there for a reason. You worked really hard to earn what you've gotten so far.
Now you gotta make sure this works. You have to be scrappy, you have to have grit. Fear couldn't be an option because there was no other path through.
Everyone deals with stressors differently in life. Some people might need extra sleep. For me, dealing with stress is actually working more.
I said, you know what? I'm very confident that I will outwork anyone and I will make sure that I will give them 150% and I'm here to learn. I was more of a canvas than anything else. That's actually really important to hold on to, and you have to remember that. Lack of being jaded, and I do think I hold on to it.
I think if I could redo anything, one would be to be less anxious.
Being a woman in finance in the late 90s and the early 2000s, it was lonely. It was really lonely.
So I wish if I went back in time, I wish that I was more confident when I started versus having to work through, building out that confidence the first couple of years.
There were not people that looked like you. I actually spent more time on Monday mornings and on Sunday nights reviewing the sports scores from the weekend than I was actually understanding what was going on in business, because all I wanted to do was be relevant and to be a part of the conversation on Monday morning, right? So if all the guys were talking about the football games on Sunday, well, guess what? That's what I needed to know. But I wish I would have told my younger self not to spend the time on that. It's gonna be okay. You'll find the right home. It might take you a little while, but you will find the right home, and there are people who are going to value you for you, and you don't have to try to be somebody else. And if they don't like you for you, then you're probably in the wrong place, and life's too short.
There's plenty of opportunities when I'm the only woman in the room. It doesn't necessarily feel any different than when there's other women in the room. Don't necessarily get in your own way.
One of our founders loves to say, if you don't like change, you're going to like irrelevance even less.
Be confident and just kind of go at it, but it's not necessarily like a female thing.
I'm no different than anyone else. That's where I think the tide turns. You could be anything. It doesn't matter. You're good at what you do, and that's the qualifier. It's the good.
I think a lot of younger individuals, when they start their professional career, have very, very defined milestones. Sometimes, we'll have someone intern and they say, well, I really want to move to you and insert a very exotic, specific, very niche part of the market. And then the first question I ask that individual is, can you explain to me what that is? I've never heard of that before. It doesn't have to be so strictly defined. I actually think taking a step back and starting your career in terms of building skill sets of their most broad applicability for your future. Think about, what is the future goal, not in a 2-year time period, but in a 15-year time period. And everything that you do as you build in your career has to be additive to your skill set.
Don't try to avoid the failure. I wish someone would have taught me how to fail faster, because I think sometimes the speed to failure is actually one of the most important things.
Not everyone's gonna like everything that you do all the time. Having a great family growing up always reminded me that my parents said you always have a place, you always have a voice, you always have a chance, a shot, you always have a team.
I remember when I made a mistake and I was working on something that didn't go well, one of the folks who was working on that deal with me said to me, it's not the mistake, just don't make the same mistake twice. Go find a new one, because you will make another one. If you never make a mistake again, it probably means that you're not pushing it enough, or you're not trying enough. What's the worst that happens? You fail? Okay. Failing actually could lead into the next biggest, best idea that you've ever had.
It happens all the time. I don't think it hurts less. I think the recovery time is faster. I think there's a lot of merit in just having more experiences. I've been 18 years at Goldman. Probably how I felt 12 years ago when we lost a pitch is different than how I feel today.
If someone wants to work at Goldman, what is one thing they should never do?
Oh, I don't know. Insider trade?
Be a jerk. If you want to work at KKR, don't be a jerk, don't be rude. We're big believers in the taxi driver test. How do you treat people that you interact with every day? How do you act to them? Do you ask them how their day is?
Workplace etiquette, I don't think that actually has changed ever in my 18 years at the firm. It's important to connect with people. Being prepared for the interview in terms of what is the culture of the firm. Knowing why you want to work there and being prepared of whether or not you're a fit.
Some of our best folks at KKR are the English majors or the comparative lit majors or the poli-sci or the history or whatnot. They were taught how to think. Right? How can you be inquisitive?
Intellectually curious, confident in yourself that you can learn new things and be challenged.
How can you debate issues? How can you think outside the box?
Continue to grow as an individual and be helpful and impactful for the firm.
How do you make sure that you're going to leave the world a better place than you found it? It's not just learning the art of whatever it is you're doing. How do you build relationships with people? It's the who, it's not the what.
A lot of people are going to help you along the way to get to where you want to be.
I had a mentor of mine say to me, always pick whatever the role is or the job is, because you like the people and you feel like you can learn from them.
When I was much younger in my career, I was so focused on being very good at what I was doing in front of me that I would choose to, for example, finish this project versus go to, a half an hour networking event. But actually taking that moment to recharge and to meet someone new and learn something else about the firm, I probably would have benefited more over time doing something like that.
You've got to be in the moment where you're trying to get out from behind your desk to go spend time with people.
That's something that I wish I did more of when I was younger.
We've become a world where a lot of it's a Zoom culture, and I think that's the biggest failure in this society today. You learn by sitting next to someone. Sometimes the hard work feels heavy. I obviously went to business school while I was at KKR. That was not easy, to say the least. I had 3 kids in 3 years. That was not easy. There are days maybe I'm tired. There are days where I wish I, maybe was doing something with my kids or whatnot instead. When you think through, how am I gonna do this? How am I gonna navigate this? Is this really worth it?
Like most things in life, taking care of a newborn is a little bit more trial and error and adaptation. Instead of becoming insular, I actually try to look to source more input to a problem. I think becoming a parent actually opens up like a whole new community of people. Like you think you're in it by yourself, but in reality, there's people who've done it before you and people who are coming behind you as new parents. I definitely asked a lot of my friends for some advice and some tips.
There were gonna be days that I was a great KKR partner, and there were gonna be days that I was a great mom. And most likely, those 2 things never happened on the same day. And that was okay.
So I never really viewed it as a cost. I really viewed it as a prioritization of opportunities. Sometimes you need to kind of prioritize work because you have a stretch of really, really important projects that you're working on, or you need to prioritize your family because maybe your kid's starting kindergarten, you want to be there for that, and that makes you happier, being there.
I travel a lot for work. My daughter was 2 years old and she was playing dress up. We were FaceTiming, thank the Lord for FaceTime, right? And I said to her, I was like, what are you doing? Where are you going? And she's like, oh, I'm going on a work trip today. I'm going to China. I'm looking at buying pink companies. And I had a laugh, like the little girl in her was still there because they were pink. But the fact that that was something that she could go play, I could never have imagined playing that when I was 2 or 5. That's the exciting part of this. It's not just what you're doing, it's who you're doing it for. Those hard moments that your kids can see you, it builds a little bit of who they are.
And that also means creating some boundaries for yourself. Time is limited. While I love what I do love my family the most. So finding your balance and finding what makes you happier, what's sacred to you. Don't make your career your life.
When did it start to feel real to you that you would become a partner at Goldman?
Not until after you make it. I knew I had a goal that I wanted to accomplish. I was working towards it. I've never really wanted to give up.
Every now and then I take a step back. I'm landing in Singapore, or I'm stepping off a plane somewhere else in the world. You have a bit of that pinch me moment that you're like, is this actually what I do? My father worked for the New York City Police Department. We had a great life, but I really never saw any of the world. Even the most successful people in business are the ones who keep working at it. In business, it's very much a marathon, not a sprint. There are days I feel like I'm sprinting the marathon. 25 years in now, it's been a long journey. But I wish someone would have said to me, stop to realize the specialness of the moments that you're in, because I do think in those moments, it's hard to enjoy it. You gotta love what you do. That's what keeps you going. And if you don't, then life's too short for you to be doing it. It moves really, really fast. It's less around what success have you achieved, but have you built a big enough stage to bring the people along with you? It's not about you. It's about the we. It's about the people around you.
I'm actually incredibly optimistic about our young workforce.
The, intern version of you was watching this interview. What would you like her to take away from it?
Probably that hard work pays off. That's it.
All the angst, right? All the time that she spent worrying about what people thought and what the perception was. I hope she would take a look at this and say, okay, it is gonna be okay. Obviously don't take the foot off the gas, but just know down deep that she could take a little bit of a deep breath, that it was gonna work out.
I think she'd think it's pretty cool.
Is that good? Awesome, thank you. I hope that was all good.
Also, now that you know me well enough, I'm definitively an affirmation-seeking person. So in reality, my report card, how was it?